We plan for career breakthroughs, dream bank accounts, and exotic vacations. We have a blueprint for every corner of our lives except for the person living it. Look in the mirror after a year of relentlessly chasing more. Why does that face look so tired? Why did you plan for everything else but forget to plan to love yourself? Today, we're stopping the chase. It's time to realize that you are not the seeker, you are the destination. Before we embark on this journey, take note. Every image here is an artistic metaphor. The content is for reference and cognitive expansion purposes only. It is not intended to replace professional psychological counseling or any form of therapy. You are the person your soul has been longing to find all these years. In the early days of the new year, we often sit down with a blank sheet of paper, writing out ambitious bullet points for the future. You plan for career advancement, plans to achieve dream financial figures, plans for far-flung trips, or grand schemes for your career. But pause for a moment and look in the mirror. After a long year of relentlessly chasing those goals, do you notice a faint fatigue on your face? Have you ever wondered why you planned for everything else in life, but forgot to plan to love yourself? We often mistake self-love for signing up for an expensive gym membership, buying luxury goods, or indulging in vacations. While this is true, it is insufficient. Most of us are loving a future version, a person we hope will become wealthier, more beautiful, and more successful. But today, I offer you a completely different perspective, one that does not start with who you will become, but with learning to cherish the human being you are right now. So stop looking outward, unless you are standing before a mirror to reflect upon yourself. It is time to wake up to the obvious truth that you are the destination, the only answer to every search in your life. That feeling of emptiness you sometimes experience does not stem from a lack of success or material things. In reality, it only arises from the illusion that this universe has not granted you luck, fortune, or the essential traits to be perfect. The reality is you already have enough, right here, right now, before achieving any new goals this year, you are already a complete version. The new year is knocking. Before we begin new journeys together, I want a moment of silence to express my deepest gratitude to you. Those who have always accompanied, listened, and supported this channel. Your presence is a blessing in my journey. Amidst the hustle of the early days when everyone wishes for wealth, success, or breakthroughs, I want to wish you a new year where you live not just for plans, but for your own soul. May you have enough patience to listen to your inner voice, enough compassion to embrace your old scars, and enough alertness to realize that every goal you achieve is only complete when you truly feel happy with the person you are. I hope that this year, every time you look in the mirror, you no longer see flaws to fix, but a person most worthy of respect. Thank you for being here. I wish you a new of peace in mind, freedom in soul, and full of self-love. And if you enjoy this dark corner of psychology, give me a New Year's gift by liking this video. And if you have anything to share, comment below so we can connect in these early days. Now look deep into reality. We are besieged in a pragmatic consumerist society where the economic machine runs smoothly only when they stimulate your spending. The simplest psychological manipulation for them to sell products is injecting the notion into your mind that you are not good enough, you have defects, you need to possess more. They claim that owning this car will attract women, wearing that outfit will attract sophisticated men. We are bewitched by these messages to the extent that the mind starts believing these malicious lies. But the truth is, the makeup they advertise to make you feel more beautiful is merely a mask to help you evade your self-loathing. The loathing born from repeated lies that you are an imperfect entity. And what about the cultural products and movies we consume daily? In reality, those colorful TV programs contain distorted messages. The more I observe, the more I see a toxic pattern, a message that I need someone beside me to make me complete, becoming widespread. This is not inherently a problem until we obsessively seek attachment from the outside world and forget ourselves. We turn ourselves into broken fragments, waiting for someone to fill the void within. In philosophy or spirituality, love is the ultimate answer, the key to the door of happiness. Yet if you cannot grant yourself a minimum of respect, where will you find the energy to love another? Many friends, after hearing me share, say it is time to turn inward and love themselves. But then they are confused, not understanding what self-love truly means. I see them diligently going to the gym for a beautiful body, yet constantly complaining about small bodily flaws in the mirror. I see them buying luxury items, posting on social media with flashy statuses about gratitude and enjoyment. But the reality behind it remains an unfillable unease. I even see people rejecting their own names. Have you ever felt an aversion or dislike for the name your parents gave you for some reason? When you cannot accept things integral to your existence, all external indulgences are just temporary masks. The more I ponder how everyone loves themselves, the more I realize we perhaps do not truly understand or fully reflect the essence of that love. For a long time, I carried a vague fear of loving myself. This fear did not arise naturally, it formed very early. Growing up in an education system that viewed self-focus as a manifestation of arrogance, where narcissism was associated with moral decay and must be eliminated. I was taught that a righteous person suppresses themselves, sacrifices, and lives for values higher than the individual ego. Even in religious doctrines, the ideal image I received was often linked to Stoicism, where one must be constantly vigilant against oneself, as if every inward desire harbored the risk of straying. I fell into a state of confusion. What should I do? How must I act to be moral? I was advised to love myself, but no one showed me specific methods. Fortunately, I learned a valuable lesson from a friend who noticed the contradiction in how I treated the world. She saw that I was always ready to defend her fiercely. Whenever she belittled herself, whenever she blamed herself for being stupid, I would immediately retort that she was very intelligent. When she complained she was weak, I would affirm she was incredibly resilient. And when she said sadly, "I feel ugly," I would look straight into her eyes and say, "You look beautiful." Then she asked me a question that woke me up. Why was I so dedicated to the point of extremism in filling another's cup while letting my own cup dry and crack irresponsibly? Because every time I faced myself in the mirror, my inner voice became harsh and cruel. "You look ugly," that voice judged nonstop. "You are too thin, your hair is dry and thin. Look at those disgusting pimples on your chin, dry skin, dark circles." In that dark moment, that friend gave me advice that completely changed my worldview. She said, "Treat yourself the way you treat the person you love most. Be compassionate to yourself as you are to your loved one." Only then did I realize I had let myself fall into ignorance, continuously forgetting a core truth. I am the one I have been seeking all along. Deep down, I thoroughly understood it was time to stop the search in the outside world. Only when I had enough courage to step through all fears, face the mirror, and clearly realize that the person looking back is the only one capable of bringing happiness to myself, did I understand that I was inherently complete. I am no better than you, and that is why today I am here to share a truth. You are inherently good enough. When you start to awaken and feel this, your reality will shift in that direction. The world around you will become brighter. The burdens on your shoulders will suddenly feel lighter. You will realize that in this life, you can choose to reconcile with yourself instead of constantly fighting. A peaceful life is what you fully deserve by your intrinsic value. Never let yourself forget that, because regardless of your words or actions by nature, you are already perfect and complete. Today, I hope to give you a message to help you be more compassionate with the flaws you see in yourself. To me, they were never mistakes, they are simply armor protecting your soul from doubts about your own wholeness. So starting today, look deep into your eyes in the mirror and affirm, I am the one I have been searching for. So how to learn to love yourself, and what does authentic self-love look like? For me then, self-love meant doing anything I considered caring. I tried meditation, journaling, poetry, music, singing, dancing, exercise, cold baths, saunas, tub baths. I hired trainers, tried every therapy. I detoxed, cleansed with juices, water fasted. I saw fortune tellers, astrologers, drew tarot. Yes, I stood before the mirror repeating, I love you, because that is what people do when in despair, possessing the spirit of a hippie. The problem was, at that time, I was receiving too many messages about self-love, but most described it as a switch. Either you turn it on, or you are in darkness. It made me think either I possessed it, or never would. Because of that blind belief, I busily performed every ritual, desperately searching for a grand moment when self-love suddenly awakened. But that miracle never happened that way, though I spent hours daily caring for myself, waiting for a great turning point to change my consciousness. The change remained silent. Instead, I only saw transformation happening bit by bit, then a little more, inching forward in small steps on the journey. Gradually, I began to realize the root of this long-standing drift was a complete misconception of the nature of self-love. It is not a mechanical switch I can flip at will. It is the result obtained from how we treat our own being in every beat of daily life. Self-love is the byproduct born from the correlation between you and your own inner self. It is a connection requiring all the nurturing elements similar to any other romantic relationship in this life. However, because this is an internal dialogue, we often feel awkward and don't know where to start. To resolve this, I applied a theoretical framework developed by Dr. Gary Chapman called the 5 love languages. In this system, he presents 5 central categories we can focus on to deepen connection and understanding in a relationship: acts of service, quality time, physical touch, gifts, and words of affirmation. These concepts are often assumed to be used in interpersonal contexts, but they can be entirely reflected and applied to ourselves. Take quality time as an example. How much real connection is born when 2 people sit together but consciousness is anchored to phone screens? The body is there, but the mind is absent. Presence is drained, leaving only a void that looks like caring. And if you turn inward, you realize we often treat ourselves with that same absent-mindedness. You sit alone but are not truly with yourself. You let the endless information of life sweep you away while the silent voice of the soul is sidelined. The confusion lies there. We equate being alone with self-care, while they are completely different. Being alone can just be a state of lacking others. Quality time with oneself requires conscious presence, a full return where you truly listen, feel, and face yourself. Without that presence, even if you are with someone, you are still abandoning yourself in the most sophisticated way. And what about words of affirmation? Imagine the level of trauma you would endure if Day after day, someone whispered you were stupid, not good enough, would never touch success. Just once is enough to leave a mark in the mind, let alone repetition. Yet we ourselves often become the ones saying those harsh words to ourselves. Those judgments ring steadily inside, repeating daily, silently but ruthlessly eroding self-worth. But that inner reality is not immutable when you start combining alertness with benevolent notions. You can gradually reverse the internal dialogue. You learn to speak to yourself with support instead of punishment, with understanding instead of contempt. We can entirely focus our alertness on those very languages. And when you start practicing that presence, you gradually realize the most ordinary moments, the smallest minutes you inadvertently refuse to give yourself appreciation. Only when you combine that new awareness with a steely notion of loving yourself more deeply do you begin to unlock new options. Doors previously hidden from your mind become visible. These are the practical methods to solidify your relationship with your ego and nurture deeper self-love. And when you connect with yourself, you gradually understand the signs the universe silently leaves on the journey leading you to your life's goal. Indeed, even if we are not interested or ready to receive, the universe still guides your next necessary steps. Sometimes that step takes a frightening, challenging form, like ruthlessly dropping a toxic relationship, courageously quitting a job suffocating your soul, or starting psychotherapy to face inner dark corners. But mostly, that transformation does not come as grand turns or bright moments as we expect. It appears as very small, almost trivial signs, but of no less importance. Perhaps it is just the moment you accidentally hear my sharing while struggling to know what true self-love is. Or you accidentally read a sentence in a book that liberates long-held thoughts. These things look unremarkable but are not random. When you truly connect with yourself, an invisible flow seems activated. Subtle signals from life start appearing as gentle reminders. They do not force you to change, only whisper, "Look here, slow down, listen." And even if that journey lasts many years, it is entirely worth it. I know this not because I believe, but because I have walked it. Day by day, the harsh voices in my mind diminished. They did not disappear completely, but no longer dominated my mind. I am still sad, still have heavy days, but the way I dwell with that sadness has changed. I no longer resist or self-convict, but start listening and understanding my own emotions with a deeper, kinder look. From that transformation, my view of others and life changed. My world became brighter. The burdens pressing me for so long naturally lightened. Next is touch. Ultimately, it is nothing lofty. Sometimes it starts with a simple gesture you ignore, hugging yourself. Have you ever truly done this? Not in jest, not because someone told you to, but with full, serious presence. Just your arms closing, enveloping your body as if hugging someone very much in need of company. Before sleep, try once turning off excess light, setting the phone aside, hug yourself slowly, unhurried. Feel the warmth of the body, the breath rising and falling, life silently happening within you. This is not imagination, this is contact. Imagine your body as a child. When you are happy, hug yourself and say a word of recognition. I tried hard. You cherish this moment so joy does not slip away unconsciously, but is kept as an emotional memory. When you are sad, hug tighter. No need to fix the sadness, no need to be strong. Just be there, whispering to yourself, I am here, you do not go through this alone. In that hug, sadness is not driven away, but allowed to exist safely. Hugging yourself restores the link between you and you, and when that act of love is repeated, Every night, even for a few minutes, it becomes a silent reminder that you no longer abandon yourself. And one thing you probably do most is rewarding, if viewed from a psychological depth. This is not momentary indulgence, but an act of recognition. Allow yourself to buy something not to fill a void, nor to escape emotions, but as a silent mark telling yourself your efforts have been seen. It could be a book you truly want to read, a decently prepared meal, or a small item with personal meaning. The important thing is not material value, but the quality of the giving. But the core of reward is not just giving, but in how you receive. Receive it with appreciation, unhurried, without guilt, without telling yourself you are undeserving. Enjoy it from within, from the feeling of being recognized, allowed to be happy, allowed to be satisfied with yourself. Then the reward is no longer the item, but the inner experience accompanying it. There is a very common misunderstanding. We think self-rewarding is selfish, indulgent, undisciplined. But actually, when a reward is given consciously, it does not weaken you but strengthens the relationship with yourself. It teaches you that effort has value, that joy need not be hidden, and that you can treat yourself generously while maintaining deep respect from within the soul. I want to share with you a practice method that for me holds miraculous power in healing and reconstructing myself. Every night before yielding to sleep, take a silence to truly dialogue with yourself. First, take a deep breath, exhale slowly, repeat 3 times or until you feel all muscles start relaxing and the body light as if melting. At this point, place both hands on your shoulders like a comforting hug and start whispering aloud or mentally about all that happened during the day. Be honest about negative thoughts, dark corners, or insecurities you mistakenly gave yourself. Speak it all out, then gently offer a prayer. May I be released from all this negative energy to return consciousness to pure love and gratitude. Immediately after, start nourishing the soul with words of encouragement and affirmation that you did very well. You are a strong inspiration. Loudly affirm the person you yearn to become before sinking deep into sleep. The next morning, upon waking, when the body is still drowsy at the border of real and dream, please do not rush to touch the phone. Dedicate those golden minutes to continue the internal dialogue. Send gratitude to the past sleep and establish value for the new day. Today I choose presence with what mindset? A happy person, a listener, or an inspiration spreader. Then step to the mirror, bravely look deep into your eyes. Praise, smile, and acknowledge the presence of that being. Then, take 3 deep breaths to observe the flow of emotions within. If you touch a feeling of joy, lightness, and freedom, that is the signal you have truly connected with your soul. If you persistently practice like this for 1 to 2 weeks, you will start sensing the transformation. And if you persevere to the 2nd month, those around you will be astonished by the change in appearance and energy field you radiate. The face reflects the mind is not superstition. You will see stubborn. Dark spots that cost so much effort to treat now clearly fading. Pimples or dull skin also gradually become bright and healthy from within. If you are striving for a goal not yet achieved, do not be discouraged. Practice recognizing yourself. Every time you complete even the smallest thing, reward yourself with a compliment. You are wonderful, you are talented. That is how you cultivate self-esteem and nurture confidence from deep within. Finally, if you maintain a gratitude journal habit, I want to guide you to a new method, the 2-way gratitude journal. Instead of just busily writing 5 lines of gratitude for what others or the outside world did for you, dedicate 5 lines to write about yourself. Thank you for being brave enough to be here. Thank you, feet, for taking me. Thank you, heart, for beating non-stop. That is when your circle of love truly becomes complete. Emotion is the gift God bestows on you in every breath. A vibrant energy form strong enough to make a king bow and deep enough to melt a stone heart. Hidden deep in emotion is not just pain or happiness, but the key freeing you from life's paralysis, and emotion is the sacred gift of being human. Perhaps you once wished you could keep joy without paying the price of pain. But the paradox of human life is that they always go together. Thus, the pain you hate today may very well have opened the way from things you greatly cherished. Therefore, you can absolutely write a list of bad things that happened in your life. But do not forget to put a small star next to it. Because each time you passed them, whether you realized it or not, you were given invisible gifts: maturity, depth, empathy, and mental strength. When you only stare at what you lack, you will never realize what you have. But when you return to gratitude, even for small things, you will be surprised to realize you actually possess a lot. And that is the thin but decisive line between the consciousness of abundance and the consciousness of lack. The problem was never in what you hold in your hand, but in how you look at life. So next time you forget how lucky you are, pause for a moment, just a moment, and focus on the next breath you take. Realize that right this minute you are present here, in this body, in this breath. Among hundreds of trillions of stars and hundreds of billions of galaxies. Somehow you are here, a living miracle, a great mystery. All of us are breathing together on a small chemical sphere spinning in the vast universe. You were once one of 200 million sperm, and you arrived. That alone is enough to be called a blessing. So how can you say you are unlucky and unblessed? You were gifted life before you could even ask about it. You may not have a perfect life, this may not be the best life you imagined, but surely it is the most complete in its own way. And if you still doubt, try taking your complaints to a humble person. If you are unsatisfied with what you see, try telling a blind person about your pain. On the worst day when you truly want to give up everything, try standing before a paralyzed person and say, "Life is unfair to you." I am not saying this life is easy. None of us are exempt from suffering. But when you walk through the valley of despair, please do not lose gratitude because you can still walk. Celebrate because you can still dance, still sing. Cherish the simplest things, trash touching. Food, trash touching skin, breath in and out, the sense of smell recognizing scents. There are those who completely lost the ability to smell anything. They never know the smell of roses, early rain, or a loved one standing before them. Before that reality, do you still want to complain? You do not have to. Much time to complain about life, because this is the only life you have. And there are those right now ready to trade places with you without a second of hesitation. Therefore, even if you paid with many tears, much suffering, many dark days, the cemetery is still full of souls who understood that life is worth it. Do not wait until it is too late to realize that. Life is worth it, but please do not be mistaken. Still breathing does not mean living, just as throwing away does not mean giving. If you have not yet found true love in your life, keep searching. Allow yourself to go through both pain and anger, and when the fragments are gathered, allow yourself to turn to a new page. That is how we heal. It may be excruciatingly painful, but when you dare to feel it all and still choose to love life, you are proving that we will eventually be okay. That is paradise. Not far away, you are contributing to opening its path. Paradise is right here. In this moment, can you feel it? The journey of exploring dark psychological corners has never been easy, because it requires us to bravely face our own injuries and imperfections. But as you see, only when we dare to go through the darkness do we find the truest light of self-love. Thank you for dedicating precious time to be present here at the Dark Psychology Corner channel. Your companionship and support over this time have not only been motivation, but also a blessing on my sharing path. Before closing this video, I want to send you a New Year's wish. May you have enough stillness to listen to yourself, enough compassion to embrace old scars, and enough awakening to realize you are the masterpiece you have long been searching for. I hope that this year your steps will be lighter because you have known how to love the most important companion in your life, yourself. If these shares touched you, leave a message in the comments and do not forget to give the channel a New Year's like. That is how we together light warm candles in the soul's dark corners. I am the Dark Psychology Corner. Thank you and wish you a new year of peace from the depths. Goodbye and see you in the next journeys.